For this video we're going to look at schools inviting parents into a meeting for Teams. Now obviously you might be in a position where your parents don't use Teams, but there is a way of actually bringing them into a meeting without them having to download the app or set an account up or anything like that. So what I've done here is I'm in the Teams app and I've gone to the calendar option on the left hand side, and then all I do is I click on new meeting. So I'll give the meeting a kind of title, I set the time and the date and all that stuff. I can put some details in, and then where I've got add required attendees, I simply type in a valid email address. So I've got some dummy accounts here which don't belong to real people, so I'll put one of them in. And you'll see when I put the email address in, it's valid, it comes up at the bottom, invite that email address. So you just click on where it says invite the email. You'll see it goes into the list. Now you can add more email addresses if you want. This will send an email, and any email addresses that you put in there will be listed in the email. So it's worth bearing in mind if you're inviting different parents who don't know each other, you will actually expose their email address, which is a potential breach of GDPR. So be very, very wary if you're adding more than one person into there. They will see each other's email addresses. Although I will show you a little way to get around that in a second. Then click on send. You'll see it pops into your calendar. One thing to do now is, particularly when you first start doing this, just to make sure that the settings are correct as a default, is if you click on the meeting and click join. I'll just mute the microphones and the cameras for this because obviously I don't need to go in, and click join now. When you click on show participants, you have an option here which is manage permissions. So if you click on there, it will open a web browser and log into those meeting options. You've got this who can bypass the lobby, and at the moment it's everyone. What happens is, when a parent joins the meeting, it simply asks them for their name, and we'll look at that in a second. What you can do is hold everyone in the lobby. So just for the first few times that you set these meetings up, so you know what your default's set to, just check on these meeting options. So who can bypass the lobby? For this, we're going to just go people in my organisation. So those will be people that are signed in and work in schools or something like that. What that means is anyone who's coming in as a guest, so potentially the parents, won't come straight into the meeting. They'll go into a lobby and we have to admit them. Always let callers bypass the lobby. We'll just turn that off because obviously we don't want them to make that decision. We want to make that decision for them. We can leave the announce when callers leave or join, and then who can present. This means who can actually share their screen and that sort of thing. So yes, you can set it to everyone, or again, only me, people in my organisation, or specific people. I'll put that as a default to only me. You need to decide on your meeting whether that's going to be something that you'd change, and then click save. That's now done, and I can leave this meeting. So I'll just hang up. What we'll do now is we'll look at the parent's email address. So as you can see, the parent has received an email from school staff, the test meeting, and if they click on it, we can see that going down here, it will say who it's come from. So that will be the email address I've used when I've signed into Teams, and who the attendees are. And that's what I mean. If you've got lots of attendees, all their email addresses will show up in there. All the parent then has to do is click on join Microsoft Teams meeting. I'll get to this page now. Because I've got the Teams app on, it detects I've got the Teams app on, and it's saying, do you want to open it in the Teams app? Obviously not, because I'm in the other account on that. So for this, I'll just go join on the web instead. And this is what the parents can do. They haven't got to download any apps. They can just join using a web browser. The first time they come in, it will ask them, can Teams use your microphone and your camera? So yes, we'll allow that. And again, we'll just turn off the microphone and the camera there. And this is what I mean when I say it just asks you for your name. So the parent can type the name in and click join now. Because I haven't actually joined the meeting as the member of staff, because I haven't started the meeting, it's just saying wait here, we'll let you know when they come on. So if we go back to our meeting and click join, so this is me joining as a staff member. you'll see that it's now telling me that Fred is waiting in the lobby. So if I click on show participants, you'll see there I can click on the cross to dismiss Fred so he can't come in, or I can just click on the tick and that will admit him. Now this is worth bearing in mind here. Fred got into the meeting by simply following this link. Now what you can do, if you look at your meeting in Teams, you can see that there's the link. I can actually right click on there and copy the link. Now what I could do is email that to several different people, and that would avoid me having this CC issue at the top. What you need to be aware of is anyone with that link can join the meeting. And what this means is if you send it to some parents but then they send it on to someone else, they can follow that link and potentially put any name they want in there and join the meeting. So you may see the name Fred and think, oh, that's such and such his father. I'll admit them into the meeting, but it's just someone who Fred has accidentally sent the link to, or Fred has been hacked or whatever. So you need to think about, if you're having these meetings, making sure that you can verify that the people you're talking to are the people you think that you're talking to. Obviously, if it's just some things about general school information that's going on, that might not be an issue. But if you're talking about a child and their progress through school, then obviously if someone comes in pretending to be a parent and just kind of stays quiet, you don't know. You need to make sure that those people are who you think they are. But what I can do is admit Fred into the meeting. Once the meeting takes place, if I wanted to, I can click on the three little dots next to Fred and I can remove them as a participant. I could make them a presenter if I wanted to. This is another way if you're doing a meeting, for instance, with your pupils and you've got a contractor who wants to deliver a lesson, you could do it this way as well, and the contractor would be able to come into the meeting and you could make them a presenter and they can present their screen and deliver a lesson for your pupils, for instance. When you want to end the meeting, it's very important that you as a presenter don't just click up the hang up button, because that will leave the meeting open for everybody else. You'll see that when I'm in there as Fred, if I click on the three little dots, I've not got very many options and all I can do is hang up. However, if I'm in as a member of staff, I can not only hang up, I can also, as you can see, start the recording, do those sort of things, but also end the meeting. And if you're presenting the meeting, when you get to the end of it, you need to go into end the meeting, not just click the hang up icon. So click on the three little dots, end the meeting, end, and you'll see that when we go back as Fred, it actually says the meeting's finished. So this is how we create a meeting that parents can join. Parents don't need to download the app, they can just join through a web browser. But you do need to be aware that if you put any more names in there, the emails will be exposed to the other people. You can send the link out, but you need to be aware that the people then coming into the meeting are who they say they are. How you do that is up to you. And you can also use this to allow third-party people to come in and actually deliver lessons to your children as well.